G'day guys, my name's REA Taz, and this is the final walk around of Doug, my 2017 Royal Enfield Classic 500. I've got another project that I want to move on to, and I've done pretty much everything that I set out to achieve with Doug. And so today I just wanted to do a tip to tail walk around of all the changes I've made and sign out of this project into another one. Doesn't mean I won't be making Royal Enfield videos, but it just means that another bike becomes the main focus of my attention and my channel. So Doug is a 2017 Royal Enfield Classic 500. Non-ABS, drum brake at the back, and these are some of the changes that I've made. Most of these have got videos, so jump on the playlist and check them out. One of the first modifications I made was the pedestrian slasher. I love the look of these things. I think it gives the bike an awesome retro look and feel. I didn't make a video on it, but I did put a braided brake line on Doug, and it makes a huge difference to brake feel. Highly recommend that modification. Throughout the bike, I put clear lenses and amber globes just to give that little bit more retro feel. They work really well. Very clear, very easy to see. Unlike some indicator and brake light mods, that, in my opinion, is actually easier for traffic to see than stock. I put an eBay clear screen on. Arrived in very short amount of time. It was about 10 days. Took about 10 minutes to put on. Looks great. Really works. Projects the air up above your helmet. Great modification. Really pleased with that one. eBay bar end mirrors. Had to modify them a little bit to get them to fit. They work great. Look excellent. Can't recommend them enough. Trip Machine leather grips. I started off with grip puppies. They were really comfortable, and if you were touring on this bike or doing long distance riding, those grip puppies would be better, but the leather grips really suit the retro feel I was going for the bike. I installed a tiny tack. It's a digital tachometer. It wraps around your spark plug lead, and I installed it while I was doing the Powertronic tuning, and it works really well. Its refresh rate is a little bit slow, but it certainly enabled me to set the idle and see what the revs were doing while I was messing with the Powertronic. It doesn't look great, but it works really well, and also for the videos you guys can often see what my revolutions are, what my revs are in the video. Cross brace, I experimented with a few things to reduce vibration. I did a hard run-in, I did the cross brace, the grip puppies, just a few videos to explore ways in which you guys can reduce the fatigue of vibration that comes through these 500 singles at times. N-Star X-mount mobile phone holder, stem nut clock, chicken head knob, key mod, which looks fantastic, really period correct. And that's what I was going on this bike, so short of the mobile phone holder that I use for navigation, I just wanted period correct mods. The most contentious modification, and my gosh, this secured some hate. So if it's not for you, again, I don't care. I love it. Don't bother commenting. I love wrap. I've got wrap basically on every bike I've got. I think it looks great. I think it looks period correct. So there is header wrap in titanium. Just to neaten up the exhaust, which by the way is an AEW Gold Star. and just to neaten up the join between the exhaust itself and the header pipe, I just put a heat shield on. Works really well, and also protects your boots from melting, or the rubber soles of your boots melting if you accidentally touch the exhaust. It gets pretty hot. Crankcase Breather. This again is a pretty contentious change. I have no trouble with this. It vents to the atmosphere there rather than a hose running from there to the stock airbox. It runs from there to there, so that the sort of oil-rich air can go back through the engine to meet emissions. I just like the look of it venting from the crankcase itself. So I started running a K&N filter, and the sticker's still there, in the airbox. I removed that and went to a pod filter running straight off the throttle body. This is not a modification that you want to do unless you're running a Powertronic or a Power Commander, because it will make your bike run way too lean. You need a specific map and a piggyback ECU to do this mod. With it, you get a lot more induction noise, which some people pick up in the videos as thinking that it's a problem with the engine, but it's not. You just get more induction noise than you're used to with this modification, and you also get a lot more throttle response. This bike is a little bit laggy on the throttle stock. With this, it's a lot sharper on throttle response. I put some Armstrong Shrouded shocks on the bike. These were donated to me from a guy, Mark, on the east coast of Tasmania. They lower the bike a couple of inches. They make it look fantastic. You can alter the height of the rear mudguard by loosening some of those bolts and allowing it to slide up and down. The further you move it that way, the lower it's going to be. The further that way, it'll push it in that direction, the higher it's going to be. So these shocks lower the bike, but it also looks a lot lower because I lowered the guard down using that strategy. I don't carry a pillion, so it's never going to be an issue. Looks fantastic. Put an eBay Springer seat on it. I found the stock seat about as comfortable as a plank. It was way too wide for my bum and hips, and I just really found it very uncomfortable. It was an easy mod. You just have to drill a hole through there to mount that swivel. Stock springs. Again, clear indicator lenses. A cover to protect the tail light. Leather panniers. I have two, but I just tend to run one on this side so I can get the look and the practicality. I think they look fantastic, and over the 9-10 months that I've had them, they've aged beautifully and they work really well. In this box, you've got the most expensive modification, and that's the Powertronic piggyback ECU. This comes from the Powertronic company from India, and it's specific for this model of bike, fuel injected, and it comes with 2 maps, and I emailed them and got them to send me a 3rd map that runs even richer so that I could run the pod filter straight off the throttle body, and it works exceptionally well. I'm very, very happy with that modification. A lot of what I've done to this bike wouldn't have been possible without the Powertronic. More belts, and just the AA badge. This was cool. Just a recreation of a 1955 tax disc. So there's no purpose other than looking period correct, in my opinion, for this bike. It's like the pedestrian slasher, no purpose, but just makes the bike look really cool. Inside this case is where a lot of the magic happens. I installed a Carberry vibration reduction plate. That was sent to me by Steve Miller from Oregon. Thanks, Steve. That was absolutely transformative for Doug. It is one of the best modifications that I've done to this motorcycle, particularly at high revs or higher speed. And in a country like Australia or the USA or the UK, people tend to ride these bikes, in my opinion, at higher speeds than what they do in other countries. And that vibration reduction plate is absolutely spectacular. It makes this bike extremely rideable at higher speeds. It cuts high speed vibration or high rev vibration to almost zero. This bike, for all of its reputation of vibrating and being unrideable at high speed, is now on all day. You could jump on this bike and ride it all day with about as much fatigue as any other motorcycle. Bang for buck, in my opinion, that's one of, if not the best modifications that I've done to Doug. That's really controversial. I've received a lot of negativity around that vibration reduction plate. The only downfall is that the little tube that you use for the location of it is a little bit of an afterthought, and controversially, I didn't like that. A lot of people took exception to the fact that I didn't like the way that they have sort of included that tube. But the actual vibration reduction plate is superb, a fantastic bit of engineering. I know that Dick Whistles doesn't like one. I know that Brad the Madman had a catastrophic engine failure that maybe contributed to that. For me, that is absolutely the most transformative modification that I've done to Doug. The other one, bang for buck, was the 19-tooth Hitchcock's front sprocket. Stock, this bike came with an 18-tooth. Some of them come with a 17-tooth. The 19-tooth Hitchcock sprocket was bang for buck, also one of, if not the best modifications. It allows this bike to run at highway speeds, and it allows it to be a much better cruiser for higher speed runs. If you're using your bike solely in an urban environment, the 18-tooth, it may be the go for you. In my opinion, it's not, but it may be the go for you. But for me, and the way that I ride this bike and where I ride this bike in Tasmania, the 19-tooth, absolutely fantastic addition. A little bit harder to see and film, but I put an NGK Iridium 6-heat spark plug. That really changed the way that this bike idles. I also put an NGK resistorless cap. The cap for the spark plug that comes stock from Royal Enfield is a throwback to the 50s. You really need to ditch the Bosch plug and the stock cap and change it to that spark plug and that cap, and your bike will be more responsive and idle much more smoothly. Simple and easy modification, but again, it's quite transformative for the money that you spend. So guys, that's the final walk around video of the customisations or the modifications that I've done to Doug. It's with a little bit of sadness that I sign off today, because that's going to be the last of the build videos for this bike. I'm not going to stop doing ride videos, but build videos will conclude because I've got another project that I want to move on to. I've achieved everything that I set out to achieve, and I've taken a stock classic 500 in chrome and graphite and turned it into a bike that you could use daily, that you could tour on, can sit on 110 and keep up with traffic brilliantly. There's been highs and lows, there's been a lot of contention and a bit of negativity on some of these, but this bike suits me to a T, and it's really very, very rideable now with very little vibration. Where could I go to from here with Doug? Well, there are certainly some options. A 535 or a 612 Hitchcock big bore kit or cafe racer conversion. There's a couple of different options, but they're quite expensive options, and I've just got to work out whether I can justify the expense versus the gains. Doug cost me $6,000, and he probably owes me about another $1,000 or so, maybe $1,500 in all the changes that I've made. Realistically, putting a Hitchcock 612 big bore kit on would be fantastic. It'd give it more torque, more grunt, but it would be a very, very expensive option, and I've just got to work out whether the gain justifies that expense. So from here, guys, again, it's with a little bit of sadness that I sign off, but from here on in, the build videos will focus on another bike. We won't give that away yet, but I hope you join me for that build. Guys, till I see you next time, my name's REA Taz.